Armidale in northern New South Wales is tonight the scene of what the Prime Minister is calling an historic moment, the first town on the mainland to throw the switch on the national broadband network. Aside from the benefits the Prime Minister claims will flow to the local community, there's also a political payoff. The more the NBN's rolled out, the more pressure there is on Tony Abbott to explain how the coalition would go about scrapping it. Here again is our political correspondent Tom Gillard.
It was Kevin Rudd's nation-building idea, but now it's Julia Gillard's baby.
We are seeing the future right here, right now, in Armidale.
Northern Tasmania is already connected to the NBN. Now they can call a friend up on the mainland.
Good morning, Tasmania. Good morning, Armidale.
It's a chance for the government to make a song and a dance at a time when Julia Gillard's having trouble catching the electorate's eye.
We can't have the kids of Singapore and other places using this technology whilst our kids get stranded behind the standards of the world with their education.
It's a pitch aimed especially at regional areas where services lag behind cities, and that puts Labor in Nationals territory.
They're rolling it out, but can they pay it off? That's the question you've got to ask yourself.
On the naysayers like Barnaby, Joyce, I'd simply say he's out of touch. He's dreadfully out of touch with the way people want to live today and the kind of services they want to have in regional Australia.
That could be put to the test in Armidale in the next election. Barnaby Joyce is openly talking about a potential run against local sitting independent Tony Windsor there. The broadband bonanza in Armidale, he says, is an attempt to fend off the Nationals from taking the seat back.
It makes sense that she would be going to one of her staunchest supporters, to one of her most loyal lieutenants in Tony Windsor, to be part and parcel of currying favour in his electorate.
But the broadband minister says the decision to hook up Armidale was taken before the last election.
It was long before anyone knew that Tony Windsor was going to be a key vote in a parliament. If Cyclone Yazi hadn't hit Townsville would have been finished first.
But Tony Abbott says the low take-up rate of the trial site in Tasmania proves the whole idea's a flop.
They'll spend $50-odd billion to provide people with something that they don't particularly want and certainly aren't keen to pay for.
Tony Abbott is in the digital dark age. He's still scrabbling around trying to put a policy together as we are rolling out the NBN.
But Tony Abbott does have a broadband policy. He built a cheaper version of the NBN after halting Labor's progress on its network and then selling off what had already been built.
The fact is that you don't advance by throwing good money after bad.
I think it's time we got over this thing that this is all too dear and it's going to be too hard and whatever. I think the government needs congratulating for actually looking at this, and regional people are going to be the major beneficiaries.
The coalition's sticking to the plan despite questions about whether it's feasible to scrap something that's already been half rolled out, leaving some Australians with access to fibre to the home and others missing out.
From our perspective, it does depend on the timing of the election, because only then will we know whether contracts have been signed, the form of the contracts, and what the costs involved of unwinding some of those contracts are.
Over coming weeks, more sites are to be rolled out in regional New South Wales and Queensland and suburban Melbourne and Adelaide. Tom Iggulden, Lateline.